shadow limbs. I've had some strange experiences growing up in the northwestern part of Montana. I'd like to share my first one. We were living in Sums, near Flathead Lake. I was around 5 years old. I lived with my mom, dad and newborn brother. Our house was a one-story rancher that was pretty secluded. My mom worked nights at a casino, and sometimes would sleep on one of the couches in the living room when she got home. I wanted to sleep by her, so I tried to sleep on the other couch facing towards the kitchen. The oven light was on in the kitchen, casting a soft yellow light. I was laying on my side looking towards the kitchen, and sticking out from the wall was a disembodied shadow in the shape of a human arm. It extended from the side of the wall, as if sandwiched behind the fridge in the kitchen, and the wall separately the living room. It had a slight bend at the elbow, its palm facing up towards the ceiling. It looked like it was holding something. It looked like it was holding a brain. I remember the pink and grey color. It was shaped like seeing the human brain from the side. I was more unsettled by this observation, even more than the shadow limb. The light from the kitchen is behind the limb, making it very prominent and out of place. I laid there looking at this thing for a while. It never moved. I don't remember being very scared, but definitely confused and unsettled. I don't think I was dreaming or experiencing sleep paralysis, as I was able to lean up to try and get a closer look. I eventually fell back to sleep. This memory is so vivid to me. I hope I did a decent job describing my experience, but if anyone has any questions or observations, I'd love to try and discuss them. I have some more possible paranormal experiences, but that would be a lot to write in a night. I'm excited to share, and I hope others may find it interesting. Am I being protected, or were these warnings? Recently went to New Orleans with some friends. We started drinking from the airport, just intent on getting completely wasted for our 3-day trip to the French Quarter. On the first night, when we were all ready to go out, my friend randomly fell and bursted his head open. We spent the night at the getting him stitches. He was in no pain and didn't bleed at all, which was weird. Next day, we are in good spirits. We drink, we dance, etc, have a blast enjoying bourbon. I noticed people staring, random people smirking, and started feeling a bad vibe. They were staring in a way that they know something. Next day, hungover, we sleep in and explore the town before going home. We landed, and on the way to my house my tire blows out. It blew out on the interstate going 80 miles per hour, right before the rest stop gas station, which comes every 2 hours or so. I find it odd that it was so convenient. Had roadside assistance meet me in the safely lit gas station, and with a little delay I was home. Considering that everything negative that happened could have been worse, was something warning us to leave? Or on the contrary, was something trying to hurt us and we were being protected us from a tragedy? Purple ball given. I was just meditating right now. Prior, I was walking and experienced pressure in my crown thigh, and I saw streams of light flowing into my crown. Then as I sat in my car and continued meditating, I got a vision. I'm not sure. I was transported elsewhere. I'm not sure how to explain it. I saw a portal-like thing open in the sky with beautiful colors. A pair of giant hands came out. The fingers looked bony and the arms were covered by what looked to be a robe. The hands were carrying a giant purple ball. It was the size of a planet. It held the ball and lowered it down to me as if I were supposed to do something. So I just stared at it. I went to touch it but hesitated. Then it shrunk down and was in my hands. I didn't know what to do with it, so I made it a part of myself. I don't know. I've meditated plenty of times, but this is the first time I've gotten any sort of visuals. I was wondering if anyone knows what it might have been about. I don't know if anyone's experienced this before. I'm very spiritual, so if anyone might know what it is, I'd appreciate any insight. I'll be posting this across a couple other communities as well to get more insight. Thanks. Something is living in my house and it wants me out. So I am 14 and living in Massachusetts. I have lived in my current home for just under 4 years and things have been good up until recently. A few days ago, I noticed that I would put things down, like my phone, and I would go back to get it and it wouldn't be where I left it. Then, I have started to hear a little girl's voice calling out words like, "Hello, can you hear me? Where are you? Come find me. Can you see me?" Nothing very sinister, but that was not what's happening now. Yesterday was the 28th of September, and things picked up. I was home alone, and I was in the basement, doing something not relevant, and I heard an explosion. I ran to where the explosion was, and turns out it was the dryer. There were flames and smoke. I ran out of the house and called the fire department. What I'm about to tell you makes no sense. The firefighters come. They go in, smell smoke, and go down to the laundry room. They come back, say there is not fire, nor any damage. They also tell me that the power is out. I go in, there is not fire or any damage of any kind. There is still a strong smell of smoke. I try the lights in the basement. They don't work. I go up a floor and try the lights there. They turn on. I leave the lights on and go to the basement and try again. They don't work. I go to the breaker panel, see if one tripped, but no, with the upstairs lights still on. I try again, noting. Later, I was walking down the hallway, and it feels like I was pushed. I cut open my arm. Later, in that same hallway, I fell and twisted my ankle. Both times there was nothing in the hallway. The hall is flat, and there is nothing to trip on. Later, I was filming a video to send to my friend, and the white bird that I had on my headboard was thrown off, and I narrowly avoided it. Later, I was able to try again, and a pair of scissors were thrown at me. Then, when I was getting into bed, a water bottle was thrown at my head. The whole night I took a beating, getting different things thrown at me. I ended up with several bruises and a long slash down my back. If you have any advice, please help. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. I felt something touching my right shoulder. I was on a call with my friend and I went to the bathroom and suddenly I felt like someone put their hand on my right shoulder but no one was there, so I thought I just leaned on the wall, so I tried to lean back a bit to see if it was actually the wall and if I can feel it again, but when I leaned back I wasn't even close to it and I realized it must have been something else, so I just brushed it off and left the bathroom. As soon as I came back into my room my friend hung up on me cause something came up and I saw flashing car lights outside my window, and then I started to feel some weird energy or someone's presence, like something is watching me or something is near me or staring at me, and after I said a prayer I started feeling pressure on my back as if I have wings or as if I am giving someone a piggyback ride. Can someone explain what happened or why? I heard a tap from my mirror and there's a bathroom on the other side. So I'd like to believe I am somewhat supernatural. Not the biggest one, but I do believe in some of it. So I watched a TikTok about looking in a mirror and seeing the version of you that's trapped in the mirror. I'm stupid, so I looked in the mirror at night and said, I know you're there, I welcome you. Nothing happened at first, but I just kept looking into the mirror and I heard a tap from the other side. I ran out of my room to my sister's room that's way across the house, so no one could have been in the bathroom. I sleep with many lights in my room now because I get so uneasy with that mirror at night now. Red eyes, black silhouette. Hey y'all, I was a child many years back, perhaps 3 or 4 years old. Woke up and saw out the window 2 red eyes staring inside. I like to think at me, but then I make all my stories about me. I panicked, lost my breath, as one does, and hid under my blankets. I waited 5, 10, maybe 100 minutes. Perception and reality not always seeing eye to eye, and when I gathered the courage to peek out from beneath my blankets, it was still there, just staring, not moving, its 2 eyes faintly glowing in the window. A moment later it slowly lowered itself and disappeared below the window. Also, bedroom was on 2nd floor of an old American 4-square, because I feel like that's important. Anyone have similar experience? Anyone have viable explanation? Or not viable? I don't care, really. Curious is all. And thanks for reading. Something super creepy happened when I was young when I went for a walk with my grandmother, and I'll never forget it. As a young girl I was walking with my grandmother and saw a strange looking woman standing in the shallow water of the bayou. When I told her to look at the woman she said she didn't see anyone. I pointed to the place that the woman was standing and the woman waved at me. My grandmother said she still didn't see her, then asked me to touch her hand. When I did, she saw the woman and immediately told me to stay away from her because she was dead. That woman had drowned several years before. My grandmother used to know her. True interactions. In December of 2020, a being told me of specific events that would unfold, which have thus far. This being woke me saying, "Watch me turn on the light." I opened my eyes and saw a semi-transparent limb stretch up to my ceiling fan and pull the cord, turning on my light. While I was lying in bed, this being told me what would soon occur. saying try to survive. These experiences are not the first I have had communicating with spirits. The first dream I had in which a spirit interacted with me was as a child dreaming of my deceased brother, before he visited me in a field, smiling and breathing his soul into my mouth. I had no idea he ever existed. He told me in my dream of his death, and to ask my mother about it. His words echoed in my head as I woke up. I walked into her living room and asked her about him, whom she had never mentioned to me before. She turned white and asked how I knew.